a lot of you guys are wondering when characters are going to rerun. So let's quickly go over the list. Josh's banner list. Now in 2.3, we clearly have two characters, Yeet Hari and Lucia. Those are the two main banner characters, the two limited banner characters. The pool of available rerun possibilities include Sambi, Yishen, include Harumasa, and potentially a Hugo or Vivian. Potentially. If we're getting a banner of a bunch of Rupture agents, I could very easily see the other rerun characters being attackers. Isn't it too soon for Yishen? I would think Yishen could show up in 2.3 or 2.4 very easily, because it's gonna be over 6 months. We're headed into October. It's gonna be over 6 months. We could see her in 2.4 or 2.5, sure. But like, this is the earliest technically we could see her. So Astra reran after 3 patches, so Yishen can do it too. And Astra Yao is very, very sought after. Yishen, alongside her Rupture new friends, would probably be one of the most easiest pairings, let's just say. And if they don't want to do Yishen, we have Sambi, Harumasa, and Hugo, and a potential Vivian. Now, do I think Vivian is going to be it? I'll be honest. I'll be straight up honest. I don't think Vivian gets it. Why? Because in 2.4, we could see some new Yun Kui Summit characters that might also pair with Ether, and that would kind of incentivize them to be like, oh, we have Ether, let's pair Ether. Or maybe some new Anomaly Yun Kui Summit members, because we've gotten Rupture, we've gotten Defense, we've gone Stun. We don't have an attacker Yunkoi Summit member. We don't have an Anomaly Yunkoi Summit member. Hey folks, it's Posted Josh here to tell you about the sponsor of this video, LD Shop. Now, LD Shop has been gracious enough to provide us with some fun perks while we top up to 35% off of our favorite games. Almost any mobile game you play can be found here with bundles for bundles. Wait, that's kind of genius. And off of your first purchase, LD Shop wants to make you a customer for your gacha stay. So they're giving you a top up starting at 22%. All you need to do is take your ID, region, and enter your payment method, which they have it all, and boom. Yeah, you can't miss out on even more savings because I have an additional 15% off code if you use the link below with an extra 5% coupon for later. Take a look at the Internet passes. They are $3.60 versus your regular $5. That money adds up, folks. Well, make sure to drop by LD Shop by clicking the link in the description for exclusive perks and discounts. And thank you to LD Shop for sponsoring this video. Units or stun units are very, very good at. So very easily we could see the Sambis, the Harumasas, the Hugo Vivians of the world show up again very, very easily. Lighter already reran pretty recently, so I don't think we could see Lighter. Qingyi already reran, so we're not going to see her. Trigger just reran, so unfortunately not going to see her. So it's mainly going to be the attackers this time around, which is not a bad thing, but kind of incentivizes you right now to take a look at this banner and be like, yo, I need a stunner. We're not going to get a stunner next patch, or sorry, next half update with Orphie and Evelyn. We're probably not going to get a stunner in first half 2.3. Arguable that we could get a stunner in second half 2.3. For the next month and a half, you will not have pull access to another stunner, and not another stunner like Trigger. That's why I shield her so much to you guys. That's why I've been trying to really push the Trigger agenda, because sure, you can say, oh man, she underperforms without the signature, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't mean she's unusable. And then secondly, if you guys were to vertically invest into her, you guys can see that full potential, and she is a tier 0.5 or tier 0 unit, depending on your box construction and depending on your skill level. She is just that good. And Josh, why are you shilling? Why are you telling us to spend money? I'm not telling you guys to spend money, but I just gotta be realistic with you guys. If you don't have a stunner and you go into the next 6 weeks being like, Josh, I needed a stunner on my attack team because I only have one Rupture, and then there's another miasma boss that I can't do. I can't be with it. This is your flag. This is your conscience speaking to you. Go grab Trigger if you guys can. If you guys are on the precipice of getting Wenjin, if you guys have a couple more pity, go grab Trigger. Also, Lycon and Yidhari, for sure. For sure. We could very, very well see a Yidhari, Lycon, and Lucia comp, right? We could say Yidhari, lighter. Trigger is the only available stunner in the next month/2 months. That's troublesome. And for a lot of folk who are listening here, you know, I could easily help you push Trigger agenda on Twitter. That'd be great, Stunning Hair. Yeah. I mean, if you don't know, I'm literally the number one Trigger shill CC. Wait, hold up. Is that right? I'm the biggest CC that shills Trigger. Or I'm the biggest. I'm the CC. I shill Trigger. Anyways, you think Glider will still be relevant if he reruns again? Yes. Yes. 100%. Because it's 75% ice and fire damage bonus and what? 10s and 20s and 30s of ice and res down with incredible time to stun. No, because he only works with attackers. I mean, you could flex him with like another, you know, Sons of Caledon character and he'd be fine. You know what I mean? Like people have, you know, altered their, you know, build to be like, oh, you can Lighter and Lucy. Like you can make it work. Like there are ways to work around this stuff. And that's why Trigger also is so valuable because even without her, you know, Wenjin or, you know, blah, 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 you know how good she is for Anomaly? Fucking cracked. And again, it's not a one-to-one conversation about, you know, Trigger's versatility versus, you know, Lighter's flexibility or whatever. But again, Lighter is niche, right? But these characters are really valuable. I don't like Rupture. It's just better attack. Why do we even have it? That's a great question. Also, Kimi Maro. I don't know what that means. Quiero trigar por I don't know what PFVOR is. Maybe it's por favor. Oh, he wants Trigger. Okay, thank you, Alucard. And I want her for you. I got Trigger trying to get her signature, even if I fail getting it. What Wenjin is suitable for Trigger? Steamed oven. All right, Fossil is lesser, but it's okay. Hopefully a lot of these talks, chat, kind of illuminate for you guys what is important for your guys' accounts. Because even though, you know, I'm not a budget or a casual player, there's a reason I get all the characters so that I can give you guys a much better evaluation on how the character stacks up within the entire cast. And that gives you literally all the possibilities for the characters. Yo, what's up, TND? I want Miyabi so bad. She's coming back around, hopefully. Right? Definitely not because of the inner Josh being a collector. I am but a collector. It started with a new car, and now I have all of this. Honestly, that was one of the worst Pokemon moves of all time, but I respect it. This DA illuminates the fact that, like, attackers suck ass. The attack class sucks ass because you know how hard they had to shill for it to be relevant on Defiler? Just for, you know, them to pull back the buff, and then now you're getting barely 20Ks? That's more, I personally think that's, you know, of course, that's bad boss design. Sure, like we all agree on that, but it also illuminates the problem of just the attacker class sucks ass. There's two different things going on here. It's from the environment side and the player side. Two things happening. That the DA is harder. It is starkly just DA is harder to do. And that we solved, you know, talking with ALG, talking with EO, talking with J-Stern, talking with Kate. That we've already had our conversation. You guys feel it. You know, the DAs are getting harder. Nobody talks about how these characters just are undercooked. Bro, the Oval Squad members are so fucking undercooked. I don't know, man. I don't know. I fuck with attackers. Well, the attackers are cool. I'm not saying Steve isn't cool. I'm not saying that Orphie isn't cool. But like from a numerical standpoint, it's just harder to fit them in. And it's harder for them to output more damage than the average of the other characters. How can you compete with another character that has 100% defense? What the fuck are you supposed to do with that? And granted, it's only one character, but we're gonna get two more. Simple. You can't. There you go. I mean, to be fair, without any buffs, you could see how truly Rupture performs. And she's not the best unit in the game. You strip away all the attack buffs and you don't even use them, right? Granted, EO did this because it was set up for him, but who uses Hugo Vlad on Miasma Priest? You're like, what the Josh? What? Would you guys use Ellen Joe anywhere? I did last rotation. Nice tech down. Attackers are good because they are restricted to using stunners. That's why they're not good. It's restricted team building and flexibility. I agree to that extent of like, sometimes restrictions are good because you don't want anything to be way too overtuned, which arguably is why they added in the resistance to build up. It's harder to build up Anomaly now these days, correct chat? Because Anomaly arguably was overtuned to what they wanted in terms of the balance of the game. So granted, yes, Anomalies got shafted a little bit and attackers got chilled. The devs are looking a little bit more closely now at how to balance each side to make all of them useful. And this transition period is very tough for a lot of people. Josh, question, then what could you do with attack that would make it stand out from Anomaly and Rupture? That's a great question. And that's something that I would love to ask you guys. I would love to ask, you know, other content creators, because there's something to be said about the simplicity of a class that just doesn't innately have anything, and that it can be anything that it wants to be. In the sense of, you have a character like Orphie come around as a sub DPS that does aftershocks on all of her attacks. I don't think you're naturally getting that with an Anomaly character or naturally getting that with a Rupture character. Now, is Aftershock holistically the answer? I don't think so. It is a direction that I believe that the attacker class overall in the grand scheme of things should divest into, as well as look at other ways in which you can bring about potentially a greater diversity with the attacker class. One nod is to Seed, allowing you to run double attacker comps a little bit more comfortably. However, 60% of the attackers barely synergize with Seed anyways. And like the only reason that you would bring another attacker is to get a Vanguard onto the team, you know? So it's just like, bro, I didn't watch it, but I saw a video about off-field agents being a problem and saying that they suck as a title. I mean, if you want me to react to it, I'll react to it. Because I don't want to say outright that the attackers suck, because there are characters like Evelyn who are really strong. Sambi could get a rework that could drastically help her out her potential. There are characters like Juyen who for the most part still is relevant in her burst potential. Hugo Vlad, with the right specifications, does incredibly well. That require a lot more work, and they're less flexible than Anomalies. Yeah. What if they just made the enemy weaker? Nah. You don't want your game trending downwards, Michael. HP inflation is a problem, but like HP inflation is somewhat necessary for the growth of a live service game, because overall, and this is a graph that you guys are unfortunately gonna have to get used to if you've never played a gacha game. Enemies, it's gonna go up. There are gonna be moments where it's like, right? The goal of a live service game is for characters to always outpace. The goal of the devs is for them to gradually maintain a pace that is higher than the enemies. Sometimes we get to 2.2 and things seem a little bit more bleak, and then we drop back down, and then we just shuffle, and then we get a new enemy, and then we shuffle, and then we go back up again. To be fair, the best buff you can do as an attacker is buffing stunners. That's a problem. That is a problem innately to the attacker class, because stunners can be used by Rupture, right? Stunners can be used by Anomaly. That is a very much an attacker problem. You can't say, oh, the attackers only need the stunners to get better so that the attackers can thrive. No, that's terrible reasoning. That's terrible overall game design and class design. Yes, I think that there's something to be said about, you know, it being a little bit more inclusive with the defensive class, right? There's something to be said about that. However, Anomaly and Rupture don't need stunners. They don't need stunners, but they can very well use stunners and use them very well, Kiritsu. Just increase the damage multiplier doing stun windows for attacker class. It's the best buff for them. I would think that's a very interesting take. Like, attackers innately get a 25 increased damage stun multiplier. Let's stop pretending attack has gotten real substantial help. They haven't. They got one shield buff, and now that shield buff is gone, the attackers are ass. Attackers are ass again. Because yes, you could say, oh, Josh, we have Pompeii back again, like blah, 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 blah. But like very easily in the next 3 weeks, we're going to shuffle that up again. And Anomaly is going to have the spotlight. Rupture is going to have the spotlight. Stunners are going to have the spotlight. Maybe in Caesar King, you never know. If you pull for Caesar King, hey, good for you. If Evelyn becomes irrelevant in the future, I'm suing. Evelyn will probably not become irrelevant. Evelyn is like the premium counter to Pompeii. You can use Hugo. You can use Hugo for sure. You can use Hugo, right? Hey, I'm not saying you can't use Hugo, but Evelyn is basically the premium counter to Pompeii. Am I wrong? 9 out of the 10 best runs will probably be, or in terms of like performance on Pompeii, 9 out of 10 runs are Astriel, Evelyn. But that also goes to the defense class, and why I think defense should also have potential to stun. So I would like to see another defense character that like maybe has some aftershock, so some off-field potential, and then also has like a Caesar King big parry into some burst stun potential. Caesar is stun focused. I agree with a little bit of, you know, buffing ability. Yeah, Caesar King's like a catch-all. But like, what if we had a Caesar King that also had like a little bit of off-field potential? I think that would help even that much more. These songs will only go up unless they're willing to release a fire unit as strong as Miyabi or better. And let's say, you know, we have Minato and we have Yidhari in 2.3. We'll probably see a lot of fire and ice oriented bosses. And that's just based off of like speculation and elemental like sentiment of like, oh, if there's an electric character coming out, there's going to be an electric weak boss, right? That just makes sense. So if an ice and fire character coming out, we're going to get a fire and ice weak boss. That's not too far-fetched. So then by which, if we're getting a new boss, we're probably going to see the Pompeiis come back again. We're probably going to see the Marionettes come back again. We're probably going to see Den and Butcher come back again. Maybe the Crab, maybe UCC, maybe Typhoon. But very rarely will we see those amongst the trees of the ice and fires and maybe potentially ether bosses. Maybe Bringer comes back around. God forbid Bringer comes back around. I'm pretty sure Bringer's going to come back around in some form or fashion. So, you know, even though, yes, the trigger was kind of one of the, you know, beginning conversation points, right? Being prepared with different options, whether they're the premium or whether they're the budget options, is something that the players need to account for. If you guys are pursuing endgame, that's just something that you have to do. It's not only building your characters and using your characters, it's grabbing the characters too, is a part of that. And I don't mean to be mean about it, but choosing the right characters in a gacha game is tough. I'm not saying it isn't, but that's my job to give you guys and inform you guys about that stuff, right? That's why I've been chilling Trigger so much. You're not going to see another stunner in the next month and a half, 2 months. So if you don't have a premium stunner, you probably want Trigger, right? It's not tough. I'm sorry. Not unless you're completely new to gacha. Steins Gate, you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. I'd rather give a lot more to the community. I don't want to say I trust them less, but I want to be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to the average player. And the average player doesn't always care about these things. And then come time when it comes to the end game, they're gonna be like, man, I didn't pull for a premium stunner. Now I'm stuck. I didn't pull for a rupture character. Now I'm stuck. I don't have 2 attacker teams. I'm stuck. And that's fine. You know, I'm not blaming them for it, but it's a reality, the humps and the trials that you have to go through to get where you want to go. And I want to be the person that helps you tackle those things and give you guys the insight to be able for you guys to empower yourselves to go about and succeed in whatever way you want to, right? Because even if you don't pull for Trigger, go get Pulchra. If you don't go for Trigger, build your Kaleda. Build your Ambi stun. There's a lot of nuance with these conversations, and I just hope that this kind of illuminates a lot of the stuff for you guys. Yeah?